Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night, and welcome to Prague Chattery 777. My first substantial video in a very long time, about 4 years, from what I understand. So, yeah, time has passed significantly. Um, yeah, I'll just kind of dive right into it. Yesterday, I posted a very, very small clip to this channel, just a 20-second clip. Just wanted to let people know I was, still alive and well. And within about 24 hours, that 20-second clip got about close to 500 views, which in the grand scheme of YouTube and the internet, obviously, it's very, very small. But it was enough to make me realize that I owe it to myself and you, the lovely viewers, at least an explanation as to my absence, and I guess a bit of history on the channel, the history on myself, and where I'd like to see the channel go, time permitting. But and also to thank everybody. It really does blow my mind how many views some of my videos have gotten. This channel was always just kind of a fun little hobby project, an excuse for me to rant and rave about all my favorite prog albums when no one else was willing to listen. And the fact that some of the videos have gotten the viewership that they have is humbling and mind blowing. And I just wanted to thank everyone out there who enjoys listening to these kind of crazy rants and raves. And I don't consider myself a YouTuber by any means. I'm not into doing the editing or any of that stuff. I just put the camera on and just kind of ramble and rave as I do. And fortunately, some folks like it, and thank you so much for liking it. And yeah, so history of the channel. It would have started back in 2016. At the time, I was in my mid 20s. The pressures of life start to close in. Got to find a decent way to earn a living and make ends meet and whatnot. And in 2016, I decided to go back to school. I spent my late teens, early 20s drumming in lots of bands. I was playing in cover bands, original bands. I was also recording my own music in my parents' basement at the time. It was very eclectic and very weird, very varying degrees of artistic success. But I had a lot of fun doing it, and I was very passionate about it. And for that time of my life, late teens, early 20s, I mean, music was pretty well all-consuming. That was my life. That's just what I did. And when I went back to school, I realized I wasn't able to do well in school and maintain that same, passion for music. The time, energy, and effort. I just couldn't commit. So I started this channel when I was in school as a way to keep my passion for music going. It was a great way for me to talk about my favorite albums. Like I said, no one else is willing to listen to me rant and rave about them, so I figured the channel would be a good way for me to do that. And yeah, and I had a lot of fun doing it. The format that I went for was to talk about each album from a complete discography if I could, and that in itself kind of took a lot of time, effort, and energy in its own way because I've got a very OCD, sort of way of doing things, and I just really, once I'd started discography, it became very an intense process to make sure I got through each and every one, and do a half decent job talking about those albums. Um, and yeah, after all the artists that I covered, some artists obviously got really substantial viewership, others a little bit less so. But the substantial viewership again continues to blow my mind. This was never, I never considered myself a YouTuber. I never, I don't do editing. I just rant and rave, and I must have done something right because particularly my Jethro Tull videos and some of the S videos have gotten very good viewership. And again, thank you so much. I have to do some more clips where I talk about those bands. But anyway, yeah. So fast forward to 2017, I graduated school, um, and then the channel kind of slowed down a little bit shortly after that because I started getting back into band stuff. I was playing regular gigs again. Shortly after that, I was able to start my proper career, which, funnily enough, isn't what I went to school for. But long story short, if I didn't go to school, I wouldn't have found myself in a position where I could start my current career. So everything falls into place, right? Everything happens for a reason. And so yeah, I ended up getting set up in my current career. Got married, got a house, And most recently, I have become a father. I've got a beautiful little girl. She's a year and a half right now, and if anyone saw that 20-second clip, you'll know you know that she likes my drum set. Um, but obviously, with all this stuff going on, maintaining the YouTube channel unfortunately did kind of slip down the priority list. But I'm hoping to be able to kind of get back into it now. Things have kind of settled a little bit. My career's stable. House stuff is stable. Obviously, raising a kid's, that's an adventure that just keeps on coming and coming. But I think I hope that I'm going to be in a position where I can continue doing some videos. At the very least, I want to finish my Peter Hamill series because I attempted to do the Peter Hamill stuff, and I did it in groups of albums, and I made it to the end of the K group era. So if I can do like a video on late '80s, early '90s, late '90s, noughties, and beyond, I definitely want to make sure I finish that so my viewers can do a whole, Peter Hamill fans at least can do a whole Peter Hamill um, playlist. They can watch a whole playlist. But yeah, and that's essentially where I'm at. And again, thank you for all the views. And I guess while I'm here, I can show you some of my albums, some of my CDs in my listening space. This is actually out in my detached garage. I'm sure viewers have noticed how much the background changes. In my very early videos, I was still living at my parents' house. I think there was a few comments on the sort of antique decor, not the sort of stuff that your average 20-something would have had sitting around their house. But it worked. I could find a room at my parents' place and get the videos done. And there was a few that I did. At my house in the basement. But since then, since the baby, everything music related has come out here to the garage. This is actually my detached garage. I've got it all soundproof so I can play the drums and have band members over and we can jam out and have a good time. But it also has my stereo setup, which the soundproofing is quite nice. It means I don't bother the neighbors too much. I can always open the door and play something like Magma if someone's bothering me. But I live in a good community. That's never been the case. And, oh yeah, here's the old drum set. Also, the Gibraltar rack serves as a fantastic coat rack as well. And yeah, I guess we'll take a quick look-see at my CD collection. AC/DC, Aerosmith, don't talk about those bands quite so much. They don't really fit the prog category, but growing up, I absolutely loved Aerosmith. Got Antiballus. I've got more of that on vinyl. They're a really cool Afro beat band. Bad Read, that's a local band from my hometown. They were lots of fun. I played a lot of gigs with them back in the day. Got some Patricia Barber, great jazz. Adrian Belew, Syd Barrett. Black Sabbath. I've almost completed my Black Sabbath collection. I've got between CDs and vinyl, I've got everything up to the Seventh Star. Oh no, I've got Eternal Idol on vinyl, but I need Headless Cross Purposes, and what's the other one? Forbidden, and then I'll have the entire collection there, which will be good. David Bowie, it's a recent obsession. So I was into Bowie a fair bit when I was doing the channel originally, but fairly recently I was able to complete the collection. I'm definitely I consider myself licensed enough to do a complete David Bowie discography, but again, I just got to find the time, effort, and energy to put that together. But I would like to do that for you guys. I'm sure there's some Bowie fans on my channel. Dave Brubeck, of course, got to get that. Bruford, lots of Bruford. Get your Earthworks, other stuff. Got Kate Bush, that's a very nice set. The CD remasters of the everything from the Kick Inside to the Red Shoes, fantastic stuff. Go over here, get the rest of the Kate Bush, the original Red Shoes. Ariel, fantastic. Before the Dawn, of course. Now, oh yes, this section right here is very, very important. I'm not sure how many folks in my viewership are familiar with Cardiacs, but I discovered them just in 2020. If any the first new artist I'm gonna talk about is definitely going to be Cardiacs and the brilliant Tim Smith. I discovered Cardiacs shortly after Tim Smith passed away. tragically, and it blew my mind that a band like Cardiacs could exist as long as they did with such little recognition. I think a lot of more people have discovered Tim Smith and Cardiacs, and Sea Nymphs is the other side project. They've also discovered them shortly after Tim passed, but they are absolutely brilliant. For the most part, if people ask me my favorite band, I will say Cardiacs now. So stay tuned for Cardiacs videos. I'm definitely gonna do that. Punk meets prog meets they're just their own thing. They're their own thing. It's just Cardiacs music. Anyway, Cheap Trick, not as exciting as Cardiacs, but there you go. Phil Collins, I love Phil Collins. He's one of my favorite drummers. Colonel Claypool's Bucket of Burning Brains, Crash Test Dummies, Canadian band. Crawling Quiet, that's a buddy of mine. I jam with him a fair bit. Got the Cream and the Cult. Don't listen to them too much anymore. Lots of Deep Purple. I'm still a big Deep Purple fan. I don't think I got around to doing Deep Purple reviews, but that's something I should do. As you can see, I've got pretty much everything. Dream Theater, another band that I always talked about doing, and probably should, especially now that Mike Portnoy is back in the band. That would be very cool. What do we got here? Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I've only got the best of and Black Moon on CD. I've got pretty much the rest of the discography on vinyl, though. What do we got here? We've got Johnny Flynn, folk artist, really cool. Frippinino, of course I've got Frippinino. I should do some King Crimson chats one of these days. And we've got Peter Gabriel. Again, it's kind of split up all over the place. I've got most of the rest of it is all on vinyl, but from Us to I.O., I've got the rest. I.O. was a fun album. Should probably listen to it a little bit more before I talk about that one, but I thought it was good. Steve Gadd, I'm a drummer, you gotta have Steve Gadd. Genesis, that's incomplete CDs, but I got the rest of it on vinyl. Gentle Giant, again, same thing, incomplete CDs, but I think I have everything, including Playing the Fool, on vinyl, which is very cool. Gogol Bordello, very fun band. Daryl Hall, Sacred Songs, one of Fripp's trilogy. Oh, and here we go, we're into the Hamill stuff. Like I said, I really gotta finish the Peter Hamill collection, because absolutely one of my favorite artists. But tackling his discography and trying to talk about it in a coherent way is not the easiest thing to do. But as you can see, I've got lots of Hamill stuff. Not Yet, Not Now, fantastic live set of solo stuff. The Isildur's Bane stuff, I think that came out after I stopped doing the videos, which is kind of crazy. I'd love to talk about both In Amazonia and In Disequilibrium. Both are absolutely fantastic. Of course, I got the new In a Foreign Town Out of Water box, or not a box set, but the re-recordings. Fantastic stuff. I thought he did a great job. Very true to the originals, but I'll save all that chatter for another video. Jimi Hendrix, Hozier, he was big for a while there. Iommi with Glenn Hughes, Infused, Iron Butterfly, Michael Jackson. The Tull stuff. Of course, Tull is a big deal. Since the channel stopped, they released the Zealot Gene and Rock Flute. I don't know how to pronounce that correctly, but whatever, it's Rock Flute. Darren Locke says, Rock Flute. Thanks to Darren Locke, I always hear Rock Flute. He's a funny guy. I like his channel. But we'll talk more about that one of these days. Went too far. Martin Barr, that was my daughter's first concert. She was still in the womb, and we saw Martin Barr. Fantastic show. I would recommend anyone go to see Martin Barr over the current Jethro Tull lineup. He's got a great singer, great band. They play all the deep cuts. Fantastic stuff. Khaki King, remarkable guitar player. Then we get into the King Crimson stuff. Like I said, I got to do a Crimson video. I've got all the studio stuff on vinyl, and then most of the stuff I listen to is the live stuff. So we got live in Hyde Park. I've got live at the Marquee Club is on the way. That's the day after the Hyde Park show, and that's supposed to be really, really, really cool. But yeah, as you can see, I'm a big fan of King Crimson live in Guildford, Newcastle, the Jamie Muir Band. The Wetton era lineup, 73, 74, I think that is some of the best King Crimson music ever put together. Absolutely love it. Or maybe I'll talk about some of the live albums too, like the Wenton King people have done. Sam and Kev. I miss those guys. They stopped their channel too. More Crimson.
Where's the really special one? Yeah, lots of Crimson, as you can see. Live in Toronto. I was at that show. That was the show that I saw. I am actually my picture is actually in the liner notes if you can believe it. I'll point it out if I talk about that album one day. But Radical Action, lots of fun. That's a cool live. It's live stuff, but they made it sound like it's like the studio versions of the songs that the current King Crimson were covering, I guess, representing the older Crimsons. Really good album. I really enjoy that. Live in Chicago is fantastic. Live in Vienna is okay. Meltdown is another really good one. It's kind of like Radical Action, but like with the new old stuff that they were putting together. They did like some of the stuff from Lizard and Fallen Angels. Lots of cool new stuff. Anyway, yeah, my Crimson takes up a lot of space here. Zeppelin, you gotta have Zeppelin. Everyone likes Zeppelin, right? Of course. That Symphonic Zeppelin's a great album. Double Espresso, 2011. Magma. I will have to talk about Magma. I've got lots of their stuff on vinyl. That's another band that I kind of discovered as I was running out of time to do regular YouTube videos. But yeah, it's very much an acquired taste. Like I said, if I ever want to piss my neighbors off, I can just open up the door and play Magma very, very loudly, and that will piss anybody off. But yeah, Mechanic Destructi Commando. I believe that's how you pronounce it, or the Thiosh Hamtak for the Ita. Who knows how to pronounce that stuff, but it's really, really cool. Very much an acquired taste, but if you're into weird music, you must listen to Magma. Got Bob Marley, Mars Volta. We did talk about them back in the day, but we didn't get a chance to talk about the new album, the self-titled just Mars Volta pop record. Very, very cool. Max Webster, we talked about those back in the day. Love Max Webster. With Max Webster, of course, you got to get the Kim Mitchell solo albums. Probably most folks outside of the northern U.S. and Canada aren't quite so familiar, but Kim Mitchell's a great musician, fantastic songwriter and singer, and another guy that deserves a little more credit. He's a phenomenal guitar player. He's Canada's guitar hero. And he's got quite a nice collection. The solo stuff gets a little bit poppy now and again, but it's good stuff. Bit of Thelonious Monk, Monty Python, obviously. Mother, another Canadian band. They kind of got big elsewhere fairly recently. They're kind of a cool, eclectic poppy band. Seen them live a number of times in Toronto. Very cool. Motorhead. I'm a fan. I'm not a hardcore fan, but they're good. I'll have to double check and see if I talked about Mr. Bungle or not. They're one of my favorites, bizarre band, and they're back together again. They've got the Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny demo, which I have on vinyl. Very, very cool. If I haven't talked about Mr. Bungle, I certainly will, or I'll try to anyway. Muse, I got that album. I'm not a diehard fan. Pink Floyd, a band that you kind of obligated to love if you're a prog guy, but it's been a long time since I've had a good Pink Floyd session. I'll have to do it one of these days. Again, I cannot remember if I talked about Floyd or not on this channel. Someone in the comments will remind me, of course. The Pogues, lots of fun. Oh, there's Robert Plant there as well. Porcupine Tree, I'm not as big a fan of Porcupine Tree. I was able to collect this much anyway, but I'm a much bigger fan of Steven Wilson's solo stuff, to be honest. PFM, Premiata Fornaria Marconi. I just got the first 3 albums there in the Italian language. Very, very good stuff. Classic prog, Italian prog. Then we got Primus. I know we talked about Primus. They made some releases since I talked about them. Maybe I'll talk about that one. I'm not too sure. I didn't get the EP. It was one I wasn't motivated to get. Queen, I got it. That's a band I kind of got into recently. Prog related. Probably not strictly prog by any means, but as you can see, I went full tilt. I got the whole collection, all the studio albums anyway. And what I was able to conclude was that Queen, very good band, very good band. Freddie Mercury was a very good singer, if you didn't know that already. But they made some great songs. We'll probably talk about Queen one of these days. Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. If you're a big Deep Purple guy, you got to get your Rainbow in there, right? Memories in Rock 2. That's a cool live album. Now Rush. I'm Canadian. By law, you must have Rush in your collection if you are Canadian. We've talked about Rush. Obviously, everyone knows I'm a huge fan. Rest in peace, Neil Peart. He passed away after my channel stopped, so it's kind of sad, but Yeah, what a legacy he's left behind. Phenomenal drummer. Jordan Rudess, very cool. That's a really good album, actually. The Road Home, playing all kinds of classic prog stuff. Santana, that's great car music. Secret Chiefs 3, related to Mr. Bungle. I don't have the whole collection, but they make some very, very cool stuff. Big fan. Snarky Puppy, of course. They're probably, of all the bands that are currently touring right now, Snarky Puppy is probably my favorite one. And I haven't seen them live yet, but I really, really need to do that. Sylvian and Fripp, a couple of those albums, gotta have those. Stickmen, great band, Tony Levin. Talking Heads, I'll definitely do some Talking Heads chats. I got more of their stuff on vinyl, but not quite the full collection yet. Tool, gotta have some Tool in there, including Fear Inoculum, the real fancy album cover with a little video screen thingy. I almost wish I didn't get that because, as you can see, I had to screw my shelf all over the place to make it fit. But you know, what are you gonna do? It's a great album. The album is worth it. Sidi Touré, fantastic artist from Ghana, I believe. I might be wrong there. Don't quote me on that. But I saw him play in Montreal once, and fantastic stuff. Trombone Shorty, phenomenal player out of New Orleans. Great trumpet, great trombone. Uriah Heep, yeah, a band, I'm a big fan of, I guess a little bit lukewarm. They're kind of like the fourth member of the heavy metal trilogy, in that they're not a part of the main trilogy, but they in the 70s, they were kicking some pretty hard stuff, especially, Demons and Wizards, Look at Yourself, which is on vinyl, but not, I don't have it on CD, as you can see. I go through Heap phases now and again. Steve Vai, Sound Theories, of course. Vandergraaf Generator, there it is. I've I've collected a couple of new CDs since the last time. I've got Time Vaults in there, really cool. After the Flood, the live stuff, live-ish stuff in the BBC studios. That's a really cool one. Vandergraaf is the first band that I talked about, actually, and I'm almost tempted to redo my my Vandergraaf reviews just so I can, I don't know, do them a bit better. Bath Forum concert, that was the last tour that they undertook. I guess 2 years ago. Very good live album in any case. It's got GOG. It's got lots of good stuff on there. Van Halen, yeah, it's certainly not prog, but a lot of the bands, when I was in my late teens, early 20s, we played Van Halen like no tomorrow, and Hot for Teachers, a really fun song to play on the drums. Very hard song to play, particularly the intro. Once you get into the shuffle, it's not too bad, but to do the intro correctly is not easy unless you're El Estepario Siberiano. That guy is absolutely insane. But yeah, I'm a fan of Van Halen. They're of all the rock bands, without being insulting, of all the knuckleheaded rock bands, they're definitely the most sophisticated in my opinion. I'm a fan. I've got everything except Van Halen 3, which I'll probably get for collecting purposes one day, but it's not on the priority list. A couple of Tom Waits records. I got more on vinyl. Tom Waits should be on vinyl. Anyone knows that. The Who, I'm not a big fan of, but I have that CD for some reason. Johnny Winter, a good bit of blues. There's the Steven Wilson stuff. Then we get into Yes. I've actually managed to collect a much more Yes since the channel concluded. So I think the playlist for Yes only goes to 90215, but I can go through Big Generator, Anderson, Bruford, Wakeman, and Howe, right through the whole Union debacle, and just some of these really sketchy albums that they were putting out throughout the 90s. But there's some good moments. Key Studio, like the Keys to Ascension stuff, has got some interesting bits. Some of these last albums though, like between like Heaven and Earth and The Quest, it's a bit of a struggle for me. Fly From Here has got some cool stuff. Mirror to the Sky is probably the best recent one they've done, but yeah, I mean, maybe we'll try and be polite about those in a video later. Neil Young, got a couple of those because again, I'm Canadian. We're required by law to have at least one. Zappa, so much Zappa. I've never really talked substantially about Zappa on the channel, but needless to say, he's a huge influence on me and my drumming, and as you can see, I've got quite the collection of Zappa. There's Make a Jazz Noise here, probably my favorite album. I've got much more on vinyl. But there you go, Yellow Shark. Civilization Phase 3, that is a very intense album. I've only gotten through the whole thing in one sitting, maybe 2 or 3 times, and it's been a long time since I've tried. It's very, very dense music, but it's his final statement, I guess. It has to be intense. Zappa is the opposite of minimalism, so if he's going to make an ultimate statement, it's going to have a lot of music, obviously. Then got some Dweezil there, and then got some box sets. This was really great. The BBC broadcast set that Genesis put out there last year. Some really cool bits and pieces there. And moving into my Jethro Tull box set collection, this is another thing. I'm waiting for the opportunity. It's obviously not in print yet. Once finances permit, I think I do have a way of getting Heavy Horses. That once I get Heavy Horses, I think I should be good on my box sets for Tull. I wasn't too motivated to get the Thick as a Brick one because there's no live stuff. It's just various mixes of the original album, and obviously the booklet that goes with these box sets would be really nice with Thick as a Brick, but it can't justify the cost. However, Passion Play, one of my favorite albums of all time. I absolutely love Passion Play. That one's got the Chateau Disaster tapes, War Child. This is kind of like the start. This is Tull at their I don't know. War Child's not at their peak, but they're certainly at their commercial peak around this time. And yeah, War Child's a great album. Minstrel in the Gallery. I've talked about all these already. Songs from the Wood. That's really nice to have the live concert there. And I'm so excited to get Heavy Horses on the box set. I just gotta wait for the finances to line up, and I should be able to find one online. Shouldn't be too difficult. Stormwatch, great box set. Again, the live concert is fantastic. Really happy that they did putting A together in a nice package like this is such a treat. And of course, Broadsword and the Beast. That one is unbelievable. The amount of bonus tracks and stuff that wasn't released from those sessions is just crazy. And that's really nice to have. It's not my favorite album in the world, but Broadsword absolutely is great. And then Elements, bits from the King Crimson tours. Gotta have those. Ugh. And I'll spare you guys the really nitpicky stuff with the vinyl. I've got lots of vinyl here, but we'll just kind of skim through this real quick. Laurie Anderson, Mr. Heartbreak. That's a bizarre record. Very, very cool. Looks like I've got Asia there. This is more Antiballus. This is a band I discovered fairly recently. Black Midi. These guys are just kids. They're not even 25, and they're coming out with some. I mean, again, I just mentioned Snarky Puppy a little while ago about my favorite touring band. I'm sure Black Midi would be the same case. I must see them live because they are absolutely crazy. They're somewhere between the Mars Volta and Primus would be like a layman's way of describing it, but it's just brilliant music. I discovered them through a podcast that Bill Bruford was doing, talking to their drummer. I forget his name, Morgan something, but they're monster musicians. Black Midi, could not recommend them enough. I got some Sabbath, some of the Bowie, Kate Bush remastered in vinyl, gotta have that. This is some of the real nice stuff here. The Cardiacs again, not the Cardiacs. The band is called Cardiacs, of course, but this is something I'll have to talk about. This beautiful box set of Little Man and a House and the Whole World Window, which is kind of their first proper album. There's a lot of stuff that was released before that in the form of demos, but that's one of the nicest box sets on vinyl I've ever purchased. Just lovely. And then, of course, we got the rest of the Cardiacs collection over here as well. And Sea Nymphs. Trout Mask Replica, Beefheart, pretty intense. Got some Billy Cobham there. Dio! It's kind of funny that's there. I mean, I like Dio, of course, but it's been a while since I've thrown that kind of stuff on. We got here ELP. There's where all that stuff resides. Some more Fripp stuff. There's the rest of my Peter Gabriel. And all my Genesis. Of course, Gentle Giant and Genesis, they always go together in the racks. Now we're into the Peter Hamill stuff. That's another. I think I mentioned that in one of my videos. The K box. That's really cool. I've got Peter's autograph. That was one of the if you ordered like the first 100 copies, you got autographed ones. So naturally, I had to race to make sure I got that little piece of history. Very cool. You got Michael Jackson's Thriller there. The rest of my Tull. All of the non-box set versions There's the rest of the Crimson. What else we got? Fela Kuti, more Afrobeat stuff. Very, very cool. Magma, so much Magma. Most of my Magma's on vinyl, and it's all fantastic. A bit of Metallica, Max Webster, Mr. Bungle, including the aforementioned Raging Wrath of the Easter Bunny, which is right there. Oh, Brother, Where Art Thou? Gotta, let's see if you're gonna film soundtrack. Gotta get that good old timey Southern music. Rockabilly, I guess. I don't know. I'm reducing my professionalism here as I go on. The Police, another fantastic band, probably worth talking about. There's some more Rainbow Doubles. This here is a fantastic box set of moving pictures. Didn't have this one when I first talked about moving pictures, but that's really cool. That's also got a full live show from Toronto, live in YYZ. And there's the rest of my Talking Heads. Still need to get a few of those ones. I got to get the first two albums and well, the soundtrack one. I can't think of the title right now. And now we move to the end. Some more Uriah Heep. Got UK there, Danger Money, and the self-titled debut, of course. And then, yeah, big old run of Vandergraaf. There is all the Tom Waits vinyl. Like I said, it is more appropriate to have Tom Waits on vinyl than the alternative. So there you go. Here's the rest of my Yes collection, and the rest is all Zappa. I am a big Zappa fan. So yeah, I hope that didn't get too boring there, just ranting and raving about my album collection. But like I said, I wanted to put something out to thank you, the noble and wonderful viewers out there. I do hope to get back into making more regular content. Like I said, at the very least, I gotta make sure I finish my my Peter Hamill chats, because that only went to Enter K or sitting or the K group stuff. So if I can get from the late '80s to up to Isildur's Bane stuff, I think that would be successful. And then there's always all kinds of other stuff for me to talk about. I just gotta find the time to do it. But until then, thank you so much for sticking around all this time that I wasn't doing videos, and yeah, thanks again. I forget what my sign off was, but just thank you so much, and hopefully we will see you more down the road. Take care.